all that stuff. And he was telling me, like, well, you don't want to keep your steel this close to your mash because if something happens and somebody happens upon this place and all this stuff is together, then, it's reasonable. Probably the wrong direction. And about that time, some fella down the road he had wigged out, and he had went off in the woods, and his people were freaking out because it was a little bit more serious than mine, and they had sent the search and rescue, and they'd sent for cops, and while we're talking about this, all of these people, just like a convoy of blue lights, are not coming to his house, but they're coming by his house, which is enough to freak out, especially if they come over to ask you if you know where this other fella is, and hey, also, what the hell are you doing? So he'd already explained to me, and at this point I didn't really know Mike that well, and he just quit talking, and he grabbed the top of the moonshine still, and he ran off with it, and he was grabbing hoses and barrels and stuff, and I kind of knew the gist because he just explained it to me, so I grabbed some sour mash and some corn and whatever, and I was just making things go far away from each other, and he came back and he looked up at me and he was like, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, I'm just helping you. He's like, you mean you're not leaving? I was like, no, it just seems like a pretty shitty thing to do. At that point, we became really good buddies. And as the world would have it, I happened to be home when he was in the hospital in his last days, and we were getting ready to come out with Take My Hounds to Heaven, and I got to show that to him. He got to meet my boy. And me and CJ and Jesse got to play some fiddle tunes for him. And that next day, that evening, they called hospice in, and he went under, and Sandra, his wife, said that she was going to play my album until he left. And so I went the next day. I was able to get to Lexington, and I really wanted to be there with him. And we got to talking about stuff, me and all the other people that were in the room. There were about 12 friends there. And we started talking, Mike always was playing music, and he had mandolins and guitars and all this stuff. And I'd been listening to Corey Brandon on the way there and thinking about this particular song and how fitting it was for Mike. But I didn't know how to play it on guitar, and I also thought it sounded so cool, a cappella. So we were thinking well, we should turn off the music. There's plenty of musicians here. We gotta play some music. So I was like, well, I'll start. And I got to play 2 songs for Mike. One of them I was playing when he passed, and this is the one that I started the song round out with, and I sang this at his funeral.